Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Wonderful Beauty.
Yes, thank you for joining us again. Today we're doing part 2 of our three-part mini-series, because we love to do mini-series here. Last week I spent some time venturing into the world of Korean rock music. We looked into Dreamcatcher, Pink Fantasy, BAP, who kind of really started a lot of it, as well as All Hours, who is kind of the Nugu version of it, who's focusing more on the EDM rock versus the regular rock that you would get from like Dreamcatcher and Pink Fantasy. This week is actually going to be Anne's week. This is going to be fun. Grab a snack, get a drink, maybe a pillow and a blanket, because let me tell you, this girl's been struggling.
We're not going to sleep. We're not going to sleep for this.
This is going to be Anne's version of a TED Talk.
Oh yeah, because I'm very passionate about Korean hip-hop. You can kind of see it when we were talking about, when we did the hometown artists with J Park and Jesse. I had to cut it so short because I knew that we were going to do this mini-series. So I didn't want to do the history of it, because honestly, the history of hip-hop has definitely evolved, just like how Western hip-hop has, evolved here in America. So, and there's lots of like crosses of influence and everything, but I'm just so excited for this because I can finally talk a little bit about Epik High without diving into their own history. I can talk about the grandfather of hip-hop, Tiger JK. So I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, let me tell you guys, she edited out a lot. I actually have the receipts, and I'll have to have her put in the video, where she had to demotivate herself typing. It was like, Aaron, quit it. You're getting ahead of yourself. Stop it. You know you're going to hate yourself.
Yeah, so I started with like an outline of all the artists that I wanted to feature in this episode.
Right.
That kind of evolved hip-hop through the years. And then from there on, I was like, okay, great. I'm going to go down to the history of it. And it literally went from like, no joke, 5 paragraphs. And I went, now it just seems like I'm doing a retrospective of this artist. So let me just go down to like 2-3 paragraphs. And I finally did. And I was like, great, let's move on to the next one, right? Went to the next one. It was even longer. And I went, I need help.
Which is funny, because that's the exact same thing you did for Jesse and J Park, too.
He did, though. Anytime it becomes like a passion project like this, I can go all out. I'm shocked that I did not go all out for Beast and Highlight. I could have gone even deeper if I wanted to. And I was just like, don't do it. It's just the first episode. Here we go. So let's dive into history of Korean hip-hop. K-HipHop now follows a simple guideline. A dope beat, badass rap lyrics, lots of English words, which we all love, and booty shaking, money flying everywhere, drinks on drinks on drinks, and shots.
You just described almost every Jesse music video ever.
Right? Plus J Park.
Yeah.
But there are other artists and songs out there that help shape what K-hip-hop is now, as well as continuing the trend. While I would love to talk about J Park and Jesse in the hip-hop scene, we've already done that with their own At the Hometown Artists series. So go watch that. But I'm not going to talk about them at all whatsoever. They already had their moment to shine. This is a whole completely different thing. I will be focusing more on the history and the progression of this genre. Korean hip-hop originated in the late 1980s to the early 1990s. However, the term hip-hop was considered rap in Korea. The influence came mainly from American hip-hop, but lyrically, the culture differences are very apparent. In American cultures, rappers will talk about money, sex, women, drugs, being from the hood and everything like that.
Yeah.
But there was no drugs in Korea because they have stricter laws. As well as, like there's no gun rights like we have here. So it's much more stricter to attain a gun in Korea. Bill Stacks, aka Fasco, has mentioned that the songs need to tell stories of our friends that they can relate to and enjoy in Korea. The themes to their songs are usually everyday lives and struggles, social issues for our underground, and love for mainstream hip-hop. Early hip-hop rappers would reference Confucian values and idioms. So already so very different in terms of how they view and expressing themselves, because the rappers here are usually from the hood, they don't come from a great family background, all these other things. Same thing with Korea. I'm sure, family problems is universal all around.
Yeah.
But the difference of it is that, us Asians, we believe more in Confucian, Buddhism, that sort of thing. So to have that to be included into their songs, it's a huge difference. On top of that, the English language to be intermixed with Korean seems to be a need for Korean hip-hop. In the late 1990s to the early 2000s, some artists actually refused to use English in their lyrics. Specifically this guy named Garion, who was widely known to use only Korean in their songs, which is unheard of. Because even if I were to go back in the K-pop scene of like maybe even first gen, they were already kind of using English words in their songs.
Okay.
So it's very hard to get to that point. Now with rappers like Tiger JK, J Park, Sonny, Tableau, and more, English is heavily included to fully establish the linguistic and rhythm of the Korean language. So just rhyming in general, because you can only rhyme so much in Korean words. So adding a little bit of English kind of change things up and everything, make things a little bit easier, especially for the Korean rappers like J Park, who are English speakers.
Right. It makes sense.
As for the sound of Korean hip-hop, there isn't much difference between the Korean and American versions, but there is an effort in incorporating Korean traditional sounds into the genre. Most common examples I can give is that when GDragon, Taeyang, and Kwanhees did their Mopsosa song for the Infinite Challenge Music Festival, they had these like specific Korean instruments, like the ones that has, kind of like the one string type things and everything. Yeah, they even went as far as incorporating traditional Korean dancers, the ones that's like they have the hat on and it's like the ribbon, and all they do is just do their head. Yeah, and it just spins around, that sort of thing. They literally incorporate the culture in that as well as the sound. Another recent one that people probably know is Hoshi's Tiger, which features Tiger JK himself. Yeah, and the only one you can see from that is the his performance on Studio Chum. It's not even on like studio release, which is a shame. It needs to be studio release, by the way.
I like that song. I've heard that one, and I guess I never really put two and two together, but I have heard the traditional Korean instrumentals in the background. But I guess my playlist doesn't play Tiger as much. It tends to play Spider for some reason. But I think I saw the Studio Chum performance before I actually heard the song by itself. Because I want to say that came out a couple years before I actually got into 17. That's when everyone was like really into Hoshi, and he was wearing the more traditional Korean outfit in that performance too.
We're gonna get to our first artist here, which is So Taiji and Boys. Now, the debut of them in 1992 marked a revolution and what people love to say is the start of Korean popular music, which is K-pop. The group incorporated American-style hip-hop and R&B into their music, and the influence of it was viral. On top of that, their popularity paved the way for both pop and hip-hop artists in Korea. The group consists of So Taiji, Lee Juno, and Yang Hyosuk, which is, as we know, as YG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So he was actually an artist, which explains why when he's doing all these judging and, those like competition shows, he knows what he's talking about. Pretty sure from like an idol standpoint to being, like a CEO type thing as well. Just like JYP. So Taiji was originally in a heavy metal band, but following its breakup, he formed a new group of dancers and backing vocalists with the two other members. So Taiji experimented with different MIDI sounds to create different types of music and actually had no plans to debut in that typical boy group that we know today, singing, rapping, dancing, whole choreography type thing.
I think before we continue, I think you should probably explain to the children what a MIDI sound is.
How do I even begin? Oh my god.
So the easiest way that I would describe it would be kind of like chip tunes. So it's like, think of like old school video game sounds. That's really the best way that I would describe.
Like Pac-Man. Pac-Man would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, or even like the old Marios and stuff like that. Like, I can already imagine somebody sitting here going, what the hell is a MIDI sound?
Yeah, it's a very 90s. I'm sure maybe it's an earlier thing, but I just remember throughout the 90s, whenever we play, on the N64, Atari, Sega,
Yeah.
that's all it is. It's like the simplest way of producing backtrack music without producing so much bits, I'm sure, because then would
Yeah.
be bigger memory and all that stuff. So they managed to fuse together dance choreography and elements of Korean hip hop formulas, thus helping them kind of break into the foreign market as the Hallyu wave, which is pretty much simply put the Korean wave. Another impact they had in the industry is actually challenging censorship laws as well as how television networks are dictating which artists should appear on their shows. On top of that, they also gave a rise of influence to companies and record labels, leading to four groups like HOT, Sesh Kiss, Uptown, and Shinhwa. So they were pretty much the start of having a company to found a girl group, boy group, whatever, and then having the company promote it. So this is pretty much the start of how companies came to be, which I'm pretty sure this is how YG was like, oh, this formula works. So I'm gonna form my own company and do my own thing.
Wow, these guys literally, without these three guys, we wouldn't be sitting here having this discussion right now.
Yeah, there would be no K-pop in general. There might be some hip hop maybe if they continue on, but that's pretty much the start of everything, which is why everyone say, oh yeah, the So Taiji and boys were literally the reason why we have K-pop today.
That's so cool and so interesting.
It's so interesting. That's why I love about doing these, different genres and the history of it. You can go so far with it. So one of the last songs before they disbanded was Come Back Home, which is widely popular, but one of their most controversial songs. The song has a gangster rap style with a high nasal pitch and voice, which is kind of, when you hear YG talk sometimes, he does have that high nasal pitch. It's pretty much transferred into this song, or just like in their scene career.
So if I can confess, I've never seen YG in anything. I don't even know what he looks like.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, think about it. With my journey, I started out with JYP artist.
Yeah,
and he was in
true.
every single music video that Wonder Girls did. I mean, my first YG artist was Blackpink.
Well, I mean, with YG, Blackpink was technically their second girl group. Their first one was 21, and right after was Blackpink. So they really didn't do much, because that's the thing that YG was good at back then. At the time, during the second generation, they fully focused on Big Bang and 21. Okay. And then once 21 kind of ran its course, that's when they're like, okay, let's debut the next one, right? So they kind of trinkle in Blackpink members in different areas. Like Jisoo showed up in some K-dramas as a cameo. Rose was actually in GDragon's album track as like a mystery girl that no one knew about at the time, but then we figure out later on it's Rose. So they were very good in focusing on each group. And then I don't know, I haven't followed much YG groups recently, but at the time they were very good in focusing one at a time and make sure they have their full promotion. So
that makes a lot of sense, because like honestly, because I think, of course, I'm probably wrong, the only YG artists that I know of right now are Blackpink and Treasure.
But they also had Winner and Icon, and then they also currently, I know for girl groups, is Baby Monster and Meow. The only reason why I know Baby Monster is because they're the next Blackpink, but with like 7 members or 8 members, I think. And my husband wants to go to see that concert, so
I was gonna say, I've actually noticed that all my YG experience really comes from actors, which is funny because they just closed their acting department last year.
I know, right? Exactly.
So, well.
All right, so Come Back Home. The lyrics address a social pressure on young people that kind of push them away from home, which is very common for a lot of students, especially, Asian culture in general. You have to do really well in school. Make sure you get straight A's, you do well, then right after, go to college. Right after, get a job. Right after, get married, right? There's a societal pressure, but then the chorus of the song, in the perspective of the parents of the runaways, which is to tell them to come back home. Okay. So at the time, the number of teen runaways were actually very high, and this song actually had an effect in helping some runaways Come Back Home. Later on in the future, which would be kind of our present time, BTS also did a cover on this, celebrating Taiji and Boy's 25th anniversary. BTS as a group maintained the vibe of the song originally. Members J-Hope and RM including their rap to convey the struggles of youths today. So I'm pretty sure more like mental health, that sort of thing. This song, Come Back Home, also won Taiji and Boys their first international award at the MTV Music Awards in 1996 for Asia Viewers' Choice.
Wow.
Which is
huge. This is an impressive resume.
Yeah. I mean, and this song can do so much. So it shows already that even though hip-hop is kind of like, ooh, that's bad, you know, you should not listen to this like bad music because it has a bad influence and everything. I mean, it helps some kids literally go back home and realize, you know what, I should not fall into this pressure. Maybe if I just talk to my parents or something, you know, then this will all work out on its way. But yeah, so that will be the first music video we're going to watch. And oh man, the quality is so bad because it's back in the 90s. But
this will be fun because I know we already get secondhand embarrassment with second gen, but this is Gen 0. Oh, the 90s effects.
Oh yeah, I know, right? And the camera work too in the beginning.
This definitely already has a very 90s hip-hop beat to it.
But yeah, this would be probably like, because you think about rappers too back then, I don't think any rappers have actually done choreography like that as much as they are doing.
I would say more like TLC did, but I guess really they were more hip-hop, whereas Lisa was the rapper.
Yeah.
Oh god, I forgot about that. The visor with the hair out.
I know, right? That was the thing back then. But you can see a ton of influence that they're probably grabbing from America, though. The style, the camera work, definitely in the music too, but that high pitch you're hearing, kids, is the meaty.
Just keep adding 5 years to us every time that you say something.
I know. I don't know. The moment I said Sega, I went crap.
You said Atari.
Oh, I said Atari, even worse. Yeah, and I don't think many music videos back then too show how bad bullying can be for students too. So, I mean, props to them to kind of address this situation at the time as well. Because no one would want to talk about that.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, why put a blemish on your society and your neighborhood and such?
Exactly. Especially when for Asians themselves, they have this term called like saving face, which is more like whatever you're putting up front is who you are. Don't show them like your dark side, don't show your political side, don't talk about money. It's kind of like a South thing, but also it's just Asians of being more prideful about themselves.
Yeah, so like in the South we say we don't want egg on our face. We don't want anyone to act a fool or do anything that makes us look bad or anything like that.
Exactly.
My mother's favorite term was always like, if you embarrass me, I'm going to embarrass you in front of God and everybody.
I love your mom. Man, those dance skills though.
Wow, that was something. And
It
it's
was
interesting
really something.
because we talk about, again, how, you know, the culture and all that. This is
Mhm.
not something you would see from American hip hop.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah.
To reference them again, really the only group that I could think of that would do something like this, because a lot of, not, especially in the 90s, you know, it was about the struggles of living impoverished. It was about the racism from cops, you
Right.
know, all that stuff, you know,
Yeah.
inequality. But the only group that I can think of, and again, I'm not very well versed in American hip hop at this point. I think it's more Korean hip hop,
Hmm.
that really spoke out about other social issues. And I've already mentioned there was TLC.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, so they had songs about safe sex. Their song Waterfall was talking about kids getting involved in the drug ring and getting killed to try to help their moms out, the AIDS
Right.
epidemic and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
so that was a really good video. Very cheesy, very 90s.
Yeah.
Made me feel very, especially where they would have the two guys in the background and then one of them would be like cutting in the front with the green
Yes.
screen.
You can see a little
uh,
pixelation. You're like,
yeah.
oh yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is it's very interesting to see the difference of what you and I would have grown up with being in
Hmm.
America on
Yeah.
MTV versus this kind of hip hop.
But I think there's a kind of almost a parallel between the two, right? They have their struggles. We have our struggles as well.
Yeah.
That's a great parallel that we have, especially when Koreans are getting influence from American hip hop as well. But it was very interesting how they're viewing and what they're wanting to put out music wise and
Yeah.
lyrics that will speak to the society and speak to who they are
Well,
as
and it's
people.
really brave if you think about it to be like the
Mhm.
first kind of mainstream hip hop slash rap group
Right.
to bring up such a societal issue. I
Hmm.
mean, and think about how like it probably helped future groups because we mentioned in our BAP episode like how dangerous and risky it was for them to release 1004 Angel,
Right.
Wake
Yeah.
Me Up, because
Hmm.
as a society, and I know especially in Asia, but even here in America, like mental health is just something that's not talked about. You even mentioned, I don't remember word for word because you know that was 5 months ago. Him Chan went a little over the top with that ending. You said while it was graphic and almost a little too over the top, it was very necessary for the message of the song.
Otherwise, people might be reading between the lines, and then the
Yeah,
message you're trying to convey will never get through, and then you're still stuck with this like endless cycle of no one knows what to do or
yeah,
talk
it's just
about or
that
anything like
constant
that.
revolving door.
Well, we do credit so Taiji and Boys to be the start of K-pop. A lot of people have dubbed Tiger JK as the grandfather of Korean hip hop. Under Drunken Tiger with DJ Shine, Mickey Eyes, DJ Jig, and Roscoe Umali, who later came in 2013. The Los Angeles Times actually referred to him as perhaps the most popular Korean rapper in America, Asia, and the world. But how did it get there? How did it get that way? So, quick history rundown. Back in 1992, Los Angeles was not in the greatest state, with 4 police officers being acquitted after the beating of Rodney King. Now, going back to, racial prejudice and all that stuff back then,
Yeah,
which is reason why, American hip hop kind of became that way when more rappers came out talking about social injustice, F the cops, all that stuff and everything. On top of that, the tension between the Black and Korean communities was very high because a year prior to the whole Ronnie King trials, there was a Black person went to a Korean convenience store. I don't remember what exactly happened. I don't want to get it wrong, but someone died. One of the people died, and of course, both ends are not happy with that. So it was a scary time. Riots were happening, lots of vandalizing, and the Black residents in general just felt disrespected by Korean business owners. LA radio DJ Namdi Moida was tasked to put together a musical lineup for the African Marketplace and Cultural Fair in South LA. But after the riots in 1992, he came up with this idea to promote racial harmony in the best way possible. He invited Tiger JK, the only Korean rapper in the midst of the Black vendors and musicians. Tiger JK was only 18 years old.
wow.
Imagine being 18 and they're like, yo, you're a rapper, right? How would you like to perform for this African marketplace festival type thing? So he was only 18 and he captivated the audience with his mix of Korean and English rap and dance moves with Taekwondo. This helped Los Angeles as a whole for the Black and Korean community, bridging that gap and bringing the community closer together after the tragedy of the riots. On top of that, Tiger JK broke the barriers of what hip hop could be in both countries. Tiger JK taking stage, showing, the Americans, the Black Americans, hey, I know how to do hip hop. This is my way of doing it in my own language, but also in English. But hey, I can dance too. Look at this. Look at all this influence I'm putting in as well. He's literally mixing everything together in one go.
Can't help but imagine, like, again, you bringing up his age at the time, how scary that had to have been for him to go to a foreign country at the age of 18 years old when these two communities are fighting with each other.
So here's the funny thing. I don't want to do a whole history on Tiger JK because then it's just a Tiger JK episode. He actually lived in LA at the time.
Oh, okay.
So he was not, I don't want to say he's born there. I think he was born in Korea, moved to LA at a very young age because his father is actually a music producer. That's how this DJ knew about Tiger JK, because his dad was like, oh, look at my son. He's so cool. What do you think of him? And, DJ's trying to rub elbows with the producers. Like, oh, yeah, great. But then later on, Tiger JK kind of proved himself, like, oh, yeah, I can definitely do it because he has practice. He has connections with his father, all these things. So that's why he knows English pretty fluently, because I think he was there for a good, 15 years of his life, maybe 14 years, because I don't know when he moved there, but he was there for a good chunk of his life by the time he was 18. So
that explains why he just randomly showed up at KCON last year.
Yeah, he was like, yo, I'm in my hometown, what up? Okay, I'm gone, see ya.
For reference, guys, in case you haven't seen our KCON episode, if it was not for Anne's little sister being the IU stan that she was, Anne was fully committed to canceling everything going to Oakland just so she could see Tiger JK.
Just for him! Just for him! In 1995, he released a solo album, but because of its explicit content, there was little airplay on the radios. But upon returning to the US, he teamed up with DJ Shine to form Dragon Tiger in 1998, and they debuted in Korea. So it's pretty much like Jessie in a sense. She tried something, didn't work, went back to New Jersey, she tried again, and then she just kind of stayed. Kind of the same thing with Tiger JK. When they debuted in Korea, they actually achieved popularity with their first album, Year of the Tiger. He even led the Movement Crew, an influential hip-hop community that helped raise groups like Dynamic Duo, Lee Sang, and Epik High.
We haven't even gotten to Tableau yet.
We haven't even gotten to Tableau, but eventually we will. So there is that stereotypical public view that hip-hop is a bad influence to the youth, but his music and lyrics show that rap and hip-hop can be much more deeper, not just about drugs and violence. So the next one we're going to see is Dragon Tiger's music video, which is Do You Know Hip-Hop? While we're watching this music video, you're going to notice how his style of rap, the tones they're using, as well as the music in general, how much this has carried over to what a lot of hip-hop artists are using now, especially with Han from Stray Kids. He said he looked up at Tiger JK. When you notice how he raps himself, you're gonna be like, oh, so that's how Han kind of got his influence from. You're gonna notice You're gonna notice how a lot of rappers in different groups drew that influence from, which is very interesting to see, because you're like, wow, this is the reason, because of this guy right here. Oh yeah, this one's bad too.
It's interesting to see him young, because all I've seen from him is from that video for Stray Kids and when he was at KCON, where he looks like a wise old man.
Right, with the long hair and everything.
And the beard.
Yeah, the beard going on, yeah, sunglasses on and everything, yeah.
I'm sorry, this is so 90s.
It's really interesting to see see him younger now, because I'm just like,
right.
but I haven't seen like this guy here, DJ Shine. I don't know what he looks like now, so I can't, judge. But I'm looking at Tiger JK, I'm like, man, he don't look like that.
No. No. And again, we're not judging him. He doesn't look bad. It's just the image we have of him versus this man here is so different.
Yeah. It's the same thing as like, you're watching your idols now, right? Then you go back to look at the debut, you're like, y'all look skinny. Y'all are tiny.
Which is a funny thing to mention since we just got the re-releases of all the 17 members being released and how embarrassing those videos were.
Oh, I forgot about this part.
내가 누군데? 유대 drunken tiger jiggy rap 왕 바람둥이 야야야 뭐 내가 누군데? 유대 nigga name shine biggie rap 날라리.
I know they think you're cool, but I mean they are cool.
I'm definitely seeing the Han vibes, but also I'm also getting a lot of Zello at the same time.
There's a lot of Zello. I mean, I'm sure if you ask any rappers where they drew their influence from, I'm sure they'll say some, American rappers, but most of them will probably say, Tiger JK, definitely for sure.
I think where I'm getting the Zello is his speed as well as his enunciation at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely the speed. Not many people can accomplish that back then. It's hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard.
Well, it's probably not something that a lot of people were striving to have as a skill. I mean...
That is very true.
I was about to say, what is this random Mingyu looking man who's just sitting here vibing?
Oh my gosh. The 90s was wild back then. Wow, he kind of did look like Mingyu. That's weird. Hold on.
Right?
Not something I would notice, but because I'm focused on Tiger JK and DJ Shine. Now suddenly you're like, there's Mingyu. I'm like, what?
It's just I guess because there's been so much 17 content. I have to say, Hoshi, chill out on Weverse. Bro, you were blowing up my phone. I found out, guys, the Samsung S25 will cap out at 20 notifications from the same app if you have not read them.
That is hilarious. Oh my god. He went on a commenting spree that night. Oh my god. Yeah, so that was Tiger JK's Do You Know Hip-Hop. And if you listen to any Drunken Tiger, because that's where he was promoting back then, he didn't do much solo stuff under Tiger JK till later on. If you listen to all of his stuff back then, you're gonna realize how many idols and rappers are so heavily influenced by him. Style, tone, the speed even. So it's really cool. And I want to recommend too that if y'all have the time and want to know more about Tiger JK's history, the LAist did a great article about that Rodney King influence with the African multicultural festival thing. They did a whole article about it, how this DJ, literally this radio DJ, put this all together, how he got Tiger JK, and there's a little bit of history of him as well, and just how this whole community was able to come together because of music. There is no need to introduce who GDragon is. How amazing he is. In my honest opinion, he's like the king of K-pop hip-hop, if that makes sense. Not hip-hop fully, but K-pop hip-hop. GDragon's
the music that we know today, where it's not just about spitting out lyrics. It's more with choreography, music, and all that.
Exactly, the one that we consider as K-pop, but then if we break it down a little bit, you're like, oh yeah, that can be hip-hop a little bit.
Okay.
GDragon's journey to get into this hip-hop field started when he was at a young age of 6.
Damn. Just keep getting younger and younger.
I know, I'm good. Here we go. A friend introduced him to the Wu-Tang Clan, and then he also participated in an album release of Korean hip-hop Flex at the age of 13. From there, Sean from GDragon recommended him to go to YG, and the rest is history. GDragon is one of these duo hip-hop groups that was under YG, and they were very big for their time as well, but I just want to give them a shout out to that. Him being one of the first few self-producing idols back for the second gen, he honed his skills from when he was younger, getting better and trying new things. While in Big Bang, he tried to incorporate more R&B and hip-hop influences, they soon moved over to like what we know Big Bang today, like Fantastic Baby, Bang Bang Bang. Like there's a little bit of hip-hop, it's more K-pop, you know what I'm saying? Like it's more dancey. But for his solos and units, with like Taein or T.O.P., he was able to tap into more of the genre he knows, while also changing up each style musically, but keeping in the genre in the unique way. So I chose GDragon's One of a Kind to show the stereotypical hip-hop he knows while incorporating his lyrics that says true to what he is as an idol. The lyrics, yes sir, one of a kind, I'm a bear that can do a lot of tricks, shows, yeah, he can do hip-hop, he can do pop, he also can be like a fashionista, a great leader to the group, a dancer, and everything in between.
This will be fun, because honestly, outside of Big Bang, the only thing I know from his new album, Ubermensch, and the couple of things that he performed on IU's Palette.
So this is kind of older. This came out like 12 years ago.
240p to 720p, so that says something. This is so weird to see him like this, because I'm so used to the hat with the scarf.
Very shy. Yeah. And we got this G right here.
I want to say I've also heard his diss song to the Mommoae Awards too.
Oh yeah, that's iconic. But yeah, you can kind of get like a whiplash from it, right? He's like very cute with the kids, and it's not like he's like over here all gangsta.
I think I mentioned this while we were watching Palette. I do like that he's got the more nasally tone. Which a lot of people you would think would try to actually eliminate that sound from your repertoire.
Right.
But okay.
Gotta show off the girls.
And a very classy outfit for a rap song too.
Exactly.
Random question, but are those his actual tattoos?
Yes.
It's so weird because again, I've seen him on Palette and I've seen him at like the Chanel show where he looks literally like a gardening grandmother. So it's funny to see him like tatted out and all that.
Right. Yeah, he covers them up fairly well in my opinion.
I also really like his androgyny that he provides.
But again, shows how he's pretty much like an all-rounder, all around, literally all around, because he can literally do anything. Because you see him being like super cool here, then you see him being cute now, right?
Yeah.
And he's just owning it. He doesn't care what people are probably saying about him. Like he's a fake, right? He can't even decide who he wants to be. No, this is literally how he is.
Yeah, he's an all kill.
Yeah, he's all kill. So all those outfits in the back, it's just pretty much his previous solo albums.
Interesting.
Yeah, because his first one, there's Taiji. So the one with the white suit with the 2 red stripes are from his first solo album, and I'll be very honest, his title track for that, very K-pop, like it's so poppy.
Interesting.
It doesn't fit him. I know he put a lot of work to it, but it wasn't him. That's why when he came out with like One of a Kind, it just shows like, hey, I'm an all-kill all-rounder. I can do all these things, and I can keep changing the style, but still be literally GDragon.
All right, so I'm definitely going to say, because I'm in a Changmo vibe right now.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Literally just discovered him by accident the other day. Once I get with that, I'm definitely going to do a GDragon journey, because that video was epic. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was really cool. Obviously, if you don't have to do a deep dive. I'm not forcing you like Carrie did with IU. But if you want to start like early GDragon, like GDragon Heartbreaker, and if you progress, like just do like his title tracks or whatever. Don't do like his B-sides. You can do his B-sides, but you don't have to. But do the title tracks and you compare like from where he started to all the way to like recent, right? With his Übermensch album, you can see how much he has changed as well. In terms of like him being more mature, but also tapping that hip hop genre and changing it as he's getting older.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I can do a whole episode on Epik High and Tablo himself, but I won't. Epik High is a hip hop trio formed in 2001. Tablo and Myth Rudgen met way before they even formed the group, while Tablo was still at Stanford University, and started performing together underground with Movement Crew, which is what we talked about in the Tiger JK portion. Then they added DJ Two Cuts, wanted to up their live performances with inspiration from Dilated Peoples, which is the same setup. They have a DJ and they got 2 rappers there performing the whole time. Their musical career was met with so many hardships in the beginning, but the main one was that the genre of their version of hip-hop was so unpopular. The public couldn't understand the lyrically complex music, which at the time, they leaned more towards simple lyrics and choreography focused, which is pretty much what H.O.T., Shinhwa, G.O.D., well, not really G.O.D. because they're more ballad, but like just more easy listen. Something that won't talk about the hard stuff. Their breakthrough, though, was the Swan Songs album with their hit Fly, reaching #1 on domestic charts and was featured on FIFA 07 and Pump It Up. Which is crazy. Another random fact about Fly, when they performed, I don't know which music show it was, but when they performed Fly, they were under Ulam Entertainment, which at the time was also housing Infinite. So Infinite was actually trainees when Epik High debuted. They played the instruments for them on stage. So later we're going to have to watch that music video episode of it. It was really cool because like, you know, back then when I saw Epik High, I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, right? Oh, they got people playing the instruments. How fun. And when Infinite debuted, I was like, wait a minute. They look familiar. Oh, and then the Fly MV and actually featured one of the Infinite members as like the main character. That's what I forgot too. He was one of the main characters of that. Because most of their music videos don't really feature them at the time. It was mostly something like a storyline, like K-Will pretty much, like story oriented. Gaining this momentum, they continued with their career by making more mainstream music, but their B-sides were hit with more darker themes such as sex crimes, war, religion, and education. It was so bad that the Ministry of Culture and Tourism reportedly censored the album Remapping the Human Soul. Per quote, the group spoke of their no genre, just music philosophy, expressing frustration with outdated and isolated perceptions of the hip-hop genre and the backlash they released from narrow-minded traditionalist factions of the domestic hip-hop community.
Damn.
Imagine Tablo saying write that out and everyone went, what? Because that's just something Tablo would totally say. So what they have done as a group for the hip-hop community is a different level. Days, the magazine noted, they don't quite fit into pop, but they've evolved beyond a traditional hip-hop act too. And they've angered the underground community by daring to meld elements of rock, soul, R&B, and pop with their rap verses. which is what we hear with Epik High music currently. They literally love to play around with a lot of it, but they still consider themselves a hip-hop group. They were one of those few idols who started underground and made big in the mainstream under a major music company, a common trend the coming years after them. They even gave more underground hip-hop artists a feature on their album or as guest performers at their concert. It's funny how much they are leaning to being hip-hop, the rebellion, the fuck you to society, the badass lyrics that are outspoken. But they also lean into the K-pop side, like making a light stick, doing TikTok trends, and just appearing on TV programs and award shows. Because if you think about these hip-hop, underground hip-hop rappers, they will not do anything with TV programs. Because at that point, you're literally selling yourself to the society, and then, you're going to get brainwashed, and then you don't have a voice anymore, and those other things. But Epik High's like, well, we gotta make money somehow to feed our kids, so.
I remember seeing a clip, and I think it was Tableau, talking about, because they have photo cards now.
Oh, yeah.
And how Tableau was literally going from, this is so fucking stupid, why are we, hey, look, it's me, I drew myself.
Literally, and I think he did a whole episode too with the whole group, and he was like, how much is this photo card? He was like, wow, this could be worth $5. He hates it but loves it at the same time. He's a total dad. He's just a dad. Music video I'm going to show you for Epik High is called Born Hater. Born Hater is the ultimate of what mainstream hip-hop is and what Epik High stands for. The song features Benzino and Furbo Gent, which are big rapper names at the community at the time, while also featuring B.I., Mino, and Bobby. Now, you probably know those names a little bit better because Mino was fresh debuted from Winner, while B.I. and Bobby had not yet debuted in Icon, but they were in Show Me the Money pre-debut, and they all, pre-debut, they even got to perform at the Mommoae Awards with Epik High. It's a huge deal because you think no one would know who they are because they were at Show Me the Money, right? You're like, what K-pop fan is going to watch this rap competition? You know what I'm saying? But the moment B.I. and Bobby showed up, the crowd went wild. Like, everyone knew who they were. So that was very heartwarming. It was really cool. The song itself was about their own struggles as Epik High, including Tableau's huge scandal at the time with Taiji witch hunt accusing him of lying about his college degree from Stanford.
I'm a born hater. Dali Van Picasso, Nabella Sketch, Millet, El fucking Greco, 내 echo. VJ의 감성 shit 다 보급형 blow 내 아류 문화생 shit 내 원래 성격은 이렇게 나와 문제 하나 없어도 fuck 'em so I understand when I attack 하는지 그 남자다운 척해 why you act like a bitch 바지 벗고 시원하게 갈라면가 타지녀도 귀여워 I'm trying to love ya 어울리잖아 뭔가 내 역설적인 삶과 무한대를 그려주려 쓰러진 팔자 너의 그 무익한 열등감 나는 무수히 붙어봤자 네 손에 돌 떨어진 그 사고는 네 분주히 내가 누누이 말했지 난 too sweet
I think this is actually one of the first Epik High songs I heard.
Okay.
Because I remember, because they toured here in San Antonio, and you were like, oh my god, please go in my stead, please go. And I was listening to their music, and I remember being shocked by how suddenly very crude one of the songs were. And I was like, oh, I think it was this one, actually.
This is one of their more popular ones.
Man, fuck you, honey. Fuck your ID, honey. Fuck your IP, man. I'm sick of y'all gigs. 넌 절대 못 다 여긴. 여긴 this is your dream. My beat was foreign and my bitch is maulin'. Hey, some of y'all are born haters. 남녀노소 각계각층에 분포돼 있어. 내가 하는 짓 하고 난
Bobby looking at it too. You're too young for that, man.
끝내버린 애들과 가까이 껴 이 바닥의 지인들 눈에 띄는 특징은 꼬리 밟힐 만큼 없게 내 팩트 강함을 드러내며 전문가인 척하는 지루하게 긴글
So yeah, this is just pretty much each rapper saying F you to all these haters, pretty much, like, you don't know me, you know, this is how you guys perceive me and everything and whatever.
Yeah.
So God, he was so young back then.
He's so small.
I know, because I'm imagining Bobby now. I'm like, or it's not Bobby, B.I. And I was like, wow, that's wild.
매번 비트 위에 똥칠하는 나의 랩짐에 증상은 몇년 전부터 괘씸해 가사와 상관없는 라임 덕질에 고래 정숙해 요조록의 랩질에 친구들은 이미 랩 거물인데 그 사이에 난 더 있는 기름 최고 아닌 트랙부터 순서를 매길 때 열손가락 안에 꼽히는 이름 다 들려 너의 비아냥 내 성만 늘어 높아지기만 한 치사량 생사를 넘나들며 굳건해진 멘탈은 성지 모두 그로 도약하는 내 탈의 경지 때가 되면 피곤한 이 바닥의 생리 이미 내 목을 노리지만 눈 깜빡하네 난 못났어도 빛들 사이에선 난 놈이니까 님이 18년도쯤에 날 보면 지금 이런 말 못할 걸 보장된 성공 회사발이라는 진따들의 역공 날 씹어대도 바로 까먹어 붕어처럼 Fuck em 박비에서 나와 발라 데뷔하고 fucked up 실력으로 여기 와나 바닥에서 turn up 근데도 몰라 나의 컨셉 뒤에 가린 monster 텁텁했는데 잘 됐네 Ep9 no use boy 그래 내가 계속 손 해밥감을 후려치는 태도 비트를 먹는 짐승 이건 수감 날 깎아내려봤자 가벼워지는 내 두발 일도 많은 내게 자꾸 열을 바라며 완벽하게 해내 시작 열받아 왈가왈부하시기 전에 걸부터 보시고 TV에 내가 나오면 끄시던 가세요 내가 변했다고 해나들겠어 내가 바라던 바니까 바닥에서 챔피언 가지고 있다가 피드백에 이해하는 척하는 내 고개 끄덕이면 비트게만 어울려 옛날 상식인 경력이 벼슬이고 선배가 전부 보여 시간이 번드냐 파산해라 얼른 보여 형들도 불러 사장님도 괜찮아 내들 가리가 커질수록 내 심장을 졸려 힙합 죽이긴 쉽단 말지 18세 감성으로 우리 10세들아 Everybody's on the set commercialize the game next Tuesday Showtime 맞는 말만 하니까 나를 배겼다 싶어 내 말이 자극적이라면 넌 바로 바비를 씹어 난 마이크를 잡으면 관중에게 들러 넌 마이크를 잡으면 비둘기도 잘 있어 Wow 여길 좀 봐 겁쟁이들은 알아서들 도망가 No doubt We're going now 내가 공연 너네들도 하든가 꼭꼭 숨어라 네 머리카락 보인다 어딜로 봐 스케일이 달라 여기 motherfucking do or die 내가 어디서 가는지 집에서 TV로 지켜봐 stupid yo 내가 어디서 뭘 하든지 아무튼 니들보다 뛰어나 stupid 무대
It's like three dads looking after a kid.
That's no no 기부를 해도 손가락질하는 헤이터들의 한마디만 달게 That's no no
That was interesting.
I don't know if you noticed, but each room actually represented the deadly sins.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of the underlying message of it, and then each rap evolves with that as well.
It's really interesting to think about the fact that they're a mainstream group. Like, this is an idol group, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Just how explicit it is, which is great, in my opinion. And then I really enjoyed the fact that each of the boys, Mino was the only one who I didn't recognize. I only know one Winter song. I don't know anything about him.
Mm-hmm.
But each of the boys featured just as much as the actual members, if not more. Because I feel like B.I. was in that more than anybody else in that video.
That's only because he did the chorus.
Yeah, which is great because, again, giving these new people who haven't officially debuted yet a chance to actually showcase their skills. And actually, like, showcase their skills in a way, not like Chan being in Twice's debut as a zombie on a treadmill.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it was really good. And I think it's cool for them, especially because you mentioned how they always give a lot of spotlight to where they came from in the underground by letting these artists perform or be featured. And then them also then shifting gears to being mentors and giving these new kids a chance to already be in the spotlight before they officially debuted.
This music video actually came out right after that scandal that I mentioned for Tableau. And
Yeah.
he did this hiatus. He was like so depressed, he was unmotivated, all these other things. His wife, she was at YG at the time, the actor version of YG. She's more well known to being that woman in Old Boy? Good Boy? What's that Korean movie back then? Old Boy, I think.
I haven't seen it. I have no idea.
Haven't seen that? Okay, great. Well, that's the role she's most known for. But her and Tableau got married. But anyways, so she was at YG at the time, and she can see, you know, Tableau being like super depressed and everything. She's like, you need to get back out there. And he was like, no, because, you know, haters and all these other things. Like, I'm gonna get scandals left and right. She actually went over to YG herself, like the CEO of YG, and was like, hey, can you give my husband a shot? Because of her and YG, they signed him, and from there he was able to come out, and Epik High was literally able to continue. And from there, because, you know, YG also had that competition that formed Winner and Icon, all that other stuff.
Okay.
That's how they built that like YG family thing, because you know, Big Bang, 21, all of them were still there at the time. And then to add Epik High in there, kind of like full circle moment type thing, because you have these K-pop, like literally K-pop groups. Then you have Epik High, which is considered hip-hop, and they can do whatever they want. Like YG literally gave them free reign, because they're like, we're just here to promote you, because you know what you're doing in this industry. You've been here for so long.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
He's like the opposite of JYP.
So to round up the hip-hop episode, I'm going to show you the good old what everyone knows hip-hop is today. Lots of booty shaking, half-naked girls, rappers just rapping about being a gangsta. Simon Dominic started underground, formed a duo with E-Sense under Supreme Team, and then went solo once more after the disbandment, and then he became a co-CEO with J Park with AOMG. With his history and being in this music career since the early 2000s, it's amazing how relevant he is still today and how much he has contributed to the genre. He was a judge and producer on Show Me the Money. He was featured in many artist songs and helped J Park in producing artists under AOMG. While he did not release many albums under his own name, I would like to believe that his albums are still super playable today, as he has this lasting impact of, oh yeah, I know that song. When I was kind of more getting into K-HipHop, right after J Park and everything like that, I still didn't know a lot of like rappers or anything, or artists or anything like that. But there's a song that keeps playing at that chicken butt place we went to, the Korean bar.
Okay.
They keep playing all of Simon Dominic's songs, and then like it would keep playing in my head, and I was just like, wow, it's actually pretty good. And then I would randomly play in the car, and then Christina, our friend, she'd be like, hey, I know this song. And I'm like, how do you know this song? She's like, oh yeah, no, I've heard this song before when I was like, you know, like it'll randomly play on YouTube or whatever. And I was like, wow, so it's still relevant, because by that time, his album was like 2-3 years old. Okay. Like pretty old, yet it was still relevant, and people know the song like by heart, it seems like.
He's got to be relevant if Christina knows. Because, you know, Christina's like 5-6 years behind the rest of us.
So, back in the J Park and Jesse episode, we didn't get to see Mommoae because there was other things I want to show TJ, especially with J Park. But it's okay. I'm going to show Make Her Dance, and it's pretty much Mommoae 2.0.
Oh, Lord.
Here we go. Warning on this, by the way. But I do want to point out, while we may get distracted by all the girls dancing and shaking their butts, notice how his range of voice is very low. Not Felix Stray Kids low, but pretty low. And for some rappers with a lower voice, it's hard to pronounce words or even enunciate them, especially if you're trying to get that speed and everything. Simon Dominic has managed to do it fast while making his words very, very clear and clean, which makes him stand out for the rest of the rappers in the hip-hop genre. So that's what makes him stand out. Is to make up with no Mommoae.
I don't know if I'm old enough to watch this.
I feel like this might be quote unquote worse than Mommoae. I don't remember.
Oh, it already is. 100% is already.
I even forgot how Mommoae goes. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if there's any girls in bathing suits in Mommoae. I think it's all like cut off jean shorts.
Oh yeah, it was because it was like very like cut, like almost to like a bikini cut.
Yeah, they're booty cheeks, but not to this degree.
I mean, they're by the pool. But yeah, this is pretty much what hip hop is now.
You're not wrong. I mean, think about it. We watched Drip in our Jesse and Jay Park episode, and Jesse had on less than what some of these girls have on, so...
I know. But it's crazy to kind of see if we were just thinking of how we started, and then suddenly it's like all the way up to this now.
Oh, yeah.
More American influence.
Oh, definitely. That's what I was going to say, because we went from like very Korean culture inspired to no. This is straight up US of A inspired.
But probably works out to, at least you know the AOMG company, right? Jay Park's company.
Yeah.
Because they were able to break into that American market. And then like, you know, when they had that small festival that was happening, I think here, and Simon Dominic was performing the song, people already know it because of this, because they already know this song. They saw the music videos, right? Oh yeah, there's lots of girls dancing and everything, the beat is sick, whatever, so.
I will say lyrically, it's not like as explicit, because BM's entire solo album is way worse than this.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. His is at least is more like kind of like respectful, but
And then you had the visuals, and it's like
yeah. It's kind of like a crossover type thing, which is very funny because Simon Dominic is actually known. He's a known Christian, like he's a Christian boy, and.
I feel like I need to go to confession after that. And now you're telling me he's a religious man?
So the meme is that, you know, he's a Christian boy, but he's got to make money. So he's got these girls dancing. But then you look at his lyrics, they're like, oh, it's not as bad. It's okay.
Well, it's actually kind of confusing because, again, this is my first introduction to him.
Right.
I think I actually knew Crush more than I knew this guy.
Yeah.
His face is almost very innocent looking.
Christian
but then
boy.
it's away from him, and you're like... I will say I was expecting his voice to be a little deeper. Because I would say it's higher than Jungkook's.
It is a little bit higher than Jungkook's, yeah.
Yeah, because when you're like, oh, not exactly Felix, and I was like, well, okay, well, we can't compare, you know, Felix to anybody else.
Yeah, really can't. You're right.
And so I was like, and I was going to ask, are we talking like between him, Chan, and Jungkook? But then he started singing, and I was like, okay, this is actually quite a bit higher than what I was expecting. It's like between Jungkook and BM, really. But you're right, like his ability to enunciate every word and all that. And it would be harder, as someone, like, I've seen Jungkook live. Like, there are times where it's like, he does sound like he's mumbling because you can't get all the words out because he has such a deep register.
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes, like, when I listen to Jungkook solos, right, I literally have to look at the subtitles, right, and be like, oh, this is what he's really saying, because half the time I'd be like, I think he said this. It's like, what's that song? Oh, when BAP came out with SNS, there was a certain line there, and I thought it meant one thing, and then my ex at the time, he was like, no, Jungkook was saying this, and I was like, are you sure? Like, I didn't trust it. And then I read the lyrics, and I was like, you're right, it is that. And it was like all in English too. And I was just like, yeah, because it's harder to enunciate, especially when you're rapping. I don't fault Jungkook for that. It's literally has to do with the baritone of his voice. It really does affect on how you speak and or rap or sing even in that point. So, but yeah, Simon Dominic has definitely has a great way of learning and training himself to enunciate every single word perfectly, knowing that he has a better risk of being like lispy and mumbling and all this other stuff. So he trained himself very well doing that. That is my hip hop episode. I did it.
You did, and honestly, I expected this to be twice as long as it is. I mean, we're only like at an hour and 20 minutes.
I was going to go harder on Epik High, but I was like, no, don't do it. You could do a whole episode later on.
Oh yeah, no, it's like me with Dreamcatcher, because there will definitely be a Dreamcatcher episode. I know for a fact there will be an Epik High episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I'm excited for that Dreamcatcher episode because I would love to learn more about those girls.
Oh yeah, I do too, and I'm actually really excited to see Minx because I've actually never seen anything from when they're Minx. So
right, yeah. So what do you think of Korean hip hop?
Oh, I mean, I've literally got a list already of like I need to look up GDragon and Simon Dominic. Again, I'm on Changmo right now.
But again, because with the history that I have presented, hip hop was not a huge thing back then, or R&B and all this other stuff. So because of a little bit from So Taiji and Boys for starting the K-pop like genre, right, and the idea and the structure of it, and then to Tiger JK helping bridging the gap together, and then Epik High, GDragon, everyone else, all these artists in general, just making it more mainstream, especially Jay Park. I mean, credits all to them.
I think that's what made this episode really interesting, at least for me. The audience may be different, is because we talked about how Jay and Jesse help make this genre so more mainstream in Korea.
Right.
But it's so cool to go back and be like, yes, that's true, but this is really where it started from, and how something that Jesse and Jay kind of helped make more mainstream, going all the way back to the genesis of it, is really where we got K-pop as a whole.
Right.
So it's kind of a cool little like almost Ouroboros or an infinity, because it's like, well, without Taiji and Boys, I keep trying to say the Boys.
The Boys, yeah, I have an issue of that too.
Without their influence, we wouldn't have gotten Jay Park and Jesse as idols,
right?
Which wouldn't have led to them becoming rappers, which would have, which helped bring this to be more mainstream,
right?
Of course, with Epik High's influence and everything. So it's kind of cool to kind of see us like, okay, well, we started here. Well, actually, we started over here, and because of this, we came back over here, and then these two were able to break away from that and then become this. So it's really cool, and it's kind of cool to hear all the history, because with rock, I didn't do as much research, but I can kind of feel with like what the music we have today, there's not as colorful of a tapestry with rock as we would get, as what we got with hip hop.
And I mean, it's kind of like what you mentioned before. K-rock is not a huge genre.
Yeah.
That's why it's still kind of a new thing. So I'm hoping that like Dreamcatcher and like All Hours, it can be like the ones, well, mainly Dreamcatcher, for them to kind of like bring this more as a thing than it just being like a group thing. You know what I'm saying? I know that's their theme, but I want it to be like this whole new genre. So like Dreamcatcher being like kind of like the start of it. Well, BAP, but you know what I mean? Like a whole concept of it as a group, and then like All Hours continuing it and everything else. But
it would be really cool to see, because like we mentioned in the last episode, like with us not knowing anything until we saw KCON, Diamond was very much presented pre-debut as this very punk, inspired by like the British punk movement.
Yeah.
We literally had Joe, I think is his name, I apologize. He's the member who left, with his big red spiky hair.
I know.
And while we enjoyed the duality of going from Burn Up to Boys Like Girls, they didn't really go back to Burn Up. They just became more cutesy and poppy. So I want what you're mentioning of with Dreamcatcher, All Hours, maybe being able to open up the doors more and be like, we did it. They've helped continue it. So this is something that we definitely, without the band concept, I have nothing against bands. We have this is what the whole next episode is.
Yes.
But it'd be nice to be able to see rock groups that do what they do. That's something that we focused on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which I remember, because like Young K has always said, like he was about to get kicked out of JYP because he couldn't dance and he couldn't do a backflip. And then JYP literally called him and goes, "Hey, you know how to play bass, right? Yeah. Okay, you're going to be in a band." And how he was like, my career was about to end before it started because I couldn't do what everybody else was doing.
Right,
And then he got this
exactly.
opportunity. So it'd be nice to see, again, with what BAP started, watch the videos for 1004, because the way that they're able to incorporate the choreography into that music video, because they don't do it very much with Wake Me Up. Wake Me Up very much focuses on the individual mental health of the actors, and then go back and watch Shocked by All Hours, like the way that they're able to move and all that.
Yeah,
That's something I'd like to see more. Bands, as two people who played musical instruments, very cool. We love to see and support, but I would very much like to see that. And I know Dreamcatcher is doing a subunit, UAU, and so I'm interested to see if they're going to continue this sound that they have, or if it's going to be something completely different.
Right. It would make sense if it's a unit and they want to do something different. I won't fault them for that. But like you said, like Dreamcatcher All Hours, for them to do rock music, not maybe they don't have the ability to play an instrument.
Yeah,
but
that's
for them
true.
to, right? So I mean, for them to just take the rock music and dance to it, I think that's so cool, because it doesn't have to be just them standing there playing instruments. We have plenty of that. I mean, I love bands, but this whole new concept of dancing to rock music in a nice choreograph, it's something that should start more. Like, everyone should just get more into that, and then hopefully can continue through these next few years, because if there's like a revolution of that would be amazing.
And I just hope it sticks. Like, and I think what a lot of it is people being afraid to shy away from what's popular. Because like I mentioned,
everyone needs to make money. Companies need to make money like that.
Yeah, like how you mentioned how BTS started out as very much more hip hop rap focused, a little darker, but then they're like, holy crap, you guys are actually kind of becoming popular. All right, now we got to shift over. Again, you got to go where the money is. So
you really
hopefully, so I'm hoping, and not even just with rock, I hope that we get more hip hop and rap focused groups that are able to stay mainstream. 3 Rock just started out doing that really well. There's like that song 3 Rocha from that album, a couple.
Oh my god,
it's so good. And I was so mad when they didn't perform that, which I get it. They only did like the subunits.
I get it, but couldn't they just do it? You know what I'm saying?
But
like Monster X got their like solos. Why can't Stray Kids give us their solos?
Exactly. So I want to see for both genres. I'd like to see more big name mainstream things.
But yeah, no, I would love to see more groups. I kind of agree with you. I want to see more groups that are just solely focused on hip hop, kind of like what BTS used to be, because that was their thing. And now, you know, we got Dynamite, we got Butter. I mean, that's pretty good. But I mean,
hey, don't be dissing Butter. I love me some Butter, okay?
Butter be stuck in my head sometimes, but I do miss that old BTS, where they're just hip hop. So, but
which is actually kind of funny, because I remember you encouraged me to buy the Proof album. I don't dislike BTS. I dislike their fandom, which is what is kind of a contingency that I get from a lot of people who like used to be ARMY, or they've just strayed away. It's because of the fandom. Yeah. But I remember when you're like, no, give them a chance. Go listen to their old stuff. And their old stuff is very much more my vibe, because I would say outside of the general K-pop scene, these last 2 episodes are very much more, not even just me. It's more what you and I are.
Yeah.
It's because yes, you do enjoy cutesy way more than I do. But if you think about it, like, because I very much, I love Rolling Quartz. I love Dreamcatcher, Day 6. Even Alexa's older stuff, very much more, had almost a different
like
sound.
Darker in a sense.
Darker, not, again, it's not Blackpink. It's not New Jeans. It's not even Cat's Eye, which, because Cat's Eye didn't click with me. The only thing I get out of them is getting to watch San dance to them because he likes Touch so much. So I really enjoyed these 2 episodes. This one especially because, you know, I got passionate about rock and I did that whole thing, but I literally only knew 2 people in this entire video. Yeah. And even then, I knew Epik High. I didn't really know GDragon. Again, my knowledge of him is Good Boy with Taeyang, and the song that he performed in Palette. Yeah. Which was more of a mumble rap kind of song. Right. It's also nice to see more stuff, because my hip hop knowledge, outside of what I've learned recently with J Park, Jesse, Chang Mo, and all that, is it really goes to Monsta X and BAP. Again, BAP, I stand. My 2 biases are Zello and Jungkook. And then, of course, Young Jay comes in as the record to kind of like even it out a little bit.
Right, exactly.
I've always loved I.M and Ju-Honey when they rap together, which I do want to look more into the underground scene because I know that Ju-Honey kind of started there. And when he went mainstream, like they all really got mad at him.
There's a lot of underground artists, more than you think, that actually started underground and became idols. I probably mentioned this before, but Bobby of Icon, he was the biggest hater of idol rappers. Like he was like, yeah, exactly, right? Because he started underground, then he went and he was like, these idol rappers are not fake, but like just like they don't know what they're doing. They can't do it like we do, right? It's all about being prideful. And then obviously he went on to Show Me the Money. Then he, signed with YG, and now suddenly he's like, an icon, and he's an idol doing rapper things. He pretty much sell out, which I didn't understand why, because again, you need to make money, right? To make it through life. But then also your roots of being other underground rappers, just like Ju-Honey, you'll be mad at them for selling out, because that's not. It should be about the music. Why are you selling out to becoming idols?
Because while a lot of people know Ju-Honey as the cute little guy from Monsta X and everything, like, that boy can throw down.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what music award show it was. It may have actually been Mommoae, where they actually did like 4 separate stages of different rappers. And they did I.M and Ju-Honey. And that song went really hard. It was really good. And it was literally, I can't remember the lyrics, but I'm pretty sure it was literally like, we are the best, or I am the best. And it was them showing like exactly why they are renowned for their rapping skills.
Korean hip-hop has come so far. I know people have differentiating views about it, especially between underground and mainstream, but from where they started way back then all the way up till now, it made huge progress. It's given so many more rappers better opportunities, in my opinion, especially with Show Me the Money, with how like the judges they have and producers they are able to accumulate for these unknown rappers and then become famous. I mean, it's a lot. So if you ever want to get into like this binge watch thing, you should watch Show Me the Money, because
I definitely will, because I know I want to watch it, because I know that Lee Young-ji was the first ever female rapper to win that show.
And then, of course, you'll also see like B.I and Bobby on there as well. Vernon was actually on there too, but he did not make far, because how Vernon said, like what he said when he first came out to all these rappers pretty much shunned him, because it's that divide that we just discussed, which is underground rappers not wanting to sell out to become idol rappers. Because this is like literally 2 weeks before 17 was about to debut, and Vernon just being like, I'm just gonna put my group name out there, like we're just starting, just pretty much like how Sun Quan is just going into all these variety shows. Vernon's like, I'm gonna do my part, I'm gonna try and go and be on Show Me the Money and all these other things, and it just did not work out, because the contestants were like, why is this tryhard even trying? He's gonna get all these votes because he's an idol. So there's that great divide, and I think what kind of broke down that barrier is once they got more of these like producers, judges, and then once it hit like B.I and Bobby, that's when everyone's like, oh crap, maybe this is a new evolution of it. All right, so that's it for the Korean hip-hop episode. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and hopefully it gave everyone kind of a good history of it, as well as opening doors of like what artists you should maybe give a listen to, like GDragon, because I know everyone knows GDragon now, but does everyone know GDragon back then? So it's a great start. But the next episode we will be doing K-bands.
That's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited for this one too.
Especially because I know when we started writing, it was only like 4 people, and then we're like, oh, we got to include extraordinary heroes. And it's actually kind of funny, because like we always wanted to do this, but I think that it was actually me discovering Rolling Quartz that kind of sparked this entire miniseries.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because you're like, hey, this is different. This is so cool. And we're like, well, what other groups, right, are doing different genres or other things? Then you're like, oh yeah, Dreamcatcher, they do rock. And then it's just like, it just evolved from that. So it's really cool.
Let us know what you think of the evolution, how bad the 90s one videos were. Very much, as I'm watching those videos, all I can think of is like, this is definitely something I could feel like Eddie Wong would have listened to if he had the opportunity, you know?
Oh my God, yes.
But yeah, let us know your opinions. Were you shocked by Make Her Dance? Do you think it's better or worse than Mommoae?
Comment
Maybe
below.
give me some more suggestions. I'm definitely going to look into GDragon. I'm going to look into Simon Dominic once I'm done with the artist that I'm on right now in between our concerts. And join us next time for K-Bands. That's going to be a fun episode if we can ever get the script done.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
흥건해진 밤이 분위기를 봐 우리뿐인 party 걸리적거리는 윗도린 다리에 이 본능은 설레 나란 본능 살래 Let's get down with me 이거는 네거 맘대로만 봐 with it 난 흥이 좋지 실수들이 오늘 밤에서 평생 네 옷